Welcome to another edition of Cleaning Business TV. I'm David Luke, Vice President of Operations of Two Maids and a Mop, and with me is
Ron Holt, CEO and founder of Two Maids and a Mop.
Today we're going to seek to answer the question, why should you consider opening your own maid service? Why would anybody consider opening their own maid service? Well, the first one is, it's not sexy. It's not a restaurant where you see a great building, you have a great environment. It's not a gym, basically, where you have a cool environment. It's not the sexy industry to be in. When you're looking at a business to own, maid service probably doesn't come first thing to your mind. It's really not a sexy industry.
It did for me, though.
Well, it did for you. Well, but one of the things by it not being a sexy industry to get into is the competition is not great, in our industry at least. In the maid service industry, there aren't people dying to get into it like the restaurant industry with new brands popping up every day, basically. In the maid industry, it's just not heavily competed as much because it's not a sexy industry. So for me, that's a wonderful asset in this industry is to have competition low. That's one of the first things to at least consider before opening your own maid service. Yeah,
and there's a lot of other great things, but it's good that we start with that one because a lot of people look at that asset that you just described and think of it as a reason not to be in this industry. But it's actually one of the primary reasons we selected this industry more than a decade ago to enter. Another great thing about our industry is the hours are phenomenal. They're great. It's Monday through Friday. There are no weekends, and you're home by 5 o'clock, according to what your rush hour traffic is, I guess. But today we can say that. But even 11 years ago when we started this business, we were, I was a hustler. I was just out there doing the best I could, working as hard as I could. But even then, it was a Monday through Friday, 8 to 5 job and business for me. And for those of you out there who have a family, it's a wonderful asset to have. Because you very rarely find that. You think about retail or restaurants, those things are 7 days a week, in some cases 24 hours a day.
Right.
So hours are phenomenal in our industry. Yeah,
it gives you a great work-life balance, which is something to consider when opening any business. You want that work-life balance, and so our industry does that. Next, there's no accounts receivable. In the cleaning industry, we get paid either 24 hours before or day of, which is wonderful. You know why? So you're not chasing down dollar bills every day, every week, every month. You're not having to chase that down, and there's no billing to do. There's no chasing down money, basically, because you're paid time of service, which is great in the maid industry.
Yeah, there's no net 30 or net 60. Right. It's net 1 in our business. Another great thing, and this one thing I'm going to talk about right now is the one thing that really attracted me to this industry more than anything else. And this is not unique to the cleaning industry. It's across the board for any service-based business. This one thing really is attractive for all those businesses. It's the recurring revenue stream. And what I mean by that is when you think of a restaurant, you guys may have your favorite restaurant. My wife and I, David, what's Rachel, my wife's favorite restaurant? Pablo's Mexican restaurant.
Did they get a plug for that? Are they going to pay us for that?
Is there an ad that we can pop up for Pablo's? But we go there quite often, anywhere from once a week to once every couple of weeks. So in one essence, you could look at us as a recurring revenue stream for that business. But the truth is, they don't know if we're going to show up or not.
Right.
In the cleaning business, the cleaning industry at least, we know exactly what's going to happen next Tuesday, next Wednesday, next Thursday, next Friday, today. All those things are already calculated and predicted because of the recurring revenue stream. Right. In our business, roughly 70 to 75% of our revenues, total sales, are based on these recurring revenue customers. Right. Now, that doesn't happen overnight. It does take a time for that to build on itself. For instance, in some of our startup locations, it's probably the other way around. It's probably closer to 75% of your one-time jobs. But over time, that builds on itself, and that becomes a tremendous asset that you can rely on over and over again, no matter what happens. That you know next Tuesday what homes you're going to be cleaning. So recurring revenue, above all the other things we're going to talk about today, is probably the most important thing for you to take away from this industry or this discussion about our industry, because it's going to be the power behind your business that actually makes it profitable.
Right. And that's one of the things when you're going into business, you want to know where that pay. It's like moving from an industry where you know where your paycheck's coming from. In a recurring revenue system business, basically, you know where your paycheck is coming from. You know how you're going to get paid because, as Ron said, 75% of our business, you know where your business is going to be coming from because of that recurring revenue stream.
Yeah, and you're not always hoping for that phone to ring. You'll always want that phone to ring, but you're not going to be sitting there staring at it. For me, in the early days, I literally stared at our phone saying, please ring, please ring, please ring. And one day it actually worked. It rang a few seconds later. But for the most part, that didn't work, and it was stressful. So once we really built on and built a base around our business, every day was a lot less stressful because I knew exactly what we were going to have that particular day. Even a restaurant, even our favorite Mexican restaurant, when they open the doors, other than maybe Cinco de Mayo, they don't know if anybody's going to show up, you know? So that, for me, would be extremely stressful. So I love that part of our industry.
Next is minimal capital expenditures. You really, in a cleaning industry, you have very low overhead costs, very low capital cost from cleaning supplies. I mean, just buying cleaning supplies is very inexpensive versus any other business. I mean, our most expensive product, I think, is a $40 vacuum. You know, we keep our capital expenditures down, and for investment purposes, to have an investment that you can get into with minimal capital expenditures is wonderful. Plus, we don't buy any cars. For us, we don't have any cars to purchase. We don't have any leases to purchase. Now, I get it. Some maid services do have cars as part of their industry. We don't. We think it's actually tremendously valuable that we don't. It offers some discretion in the customer's home, but it offers the owners, it offers us less capital expenditures, which of course we love. And in your main industry, you can do the same thing to keep your costs down as well.
And not to overshadow what you said, but when you think about other businesses out there, again, we use the same model, restaurant businesses. You need everything from a freezer to an oven to a grill to who knows what else. You're talking probably hundreds of thousands of dollars worth of equipment that not only is expensive in the beginning, but it's expensive over the long term because more than likely you're going to have maintenance costs associated with that. In our case, even the capital equipment that we purchase does not have any maintenance costs surrounding it. So minimal capital expenditures it's sort of a double-edged sword. It's great in that it allows you to really scale fairly quickly if you can really get business. But of course, it also allows there to be limited barriers to entry with our industry. But rather than looking at that as a potential weakness, we look at it as a strength because when we know how to get that phone to ring. Now, in the early days, we didn't, but we know
the staring at it didn't work forever.
But we know how to do it now. So when we want to grow, we can grow very quickly. We don't have to go buy a new car. We don't have to buy a $500 vacuum cleaner. We're ready to go tomorrow. The other really cool thing about our industry is the real estate that's going to be required. Now, in our industry, it's all over the place. Some people have a home-based cleaning business. Some people have some type of a retail space. Some people are completely mobile. But in our case, we either lease or purchase a small office space tucked away sort of in an industrial area or park, and it works for us. So really, all we really care about is the inside, the interior needs to be extremely professional in order for there to be a culture, which we'll talk about maybe one day in one of our future talks. And then logistics. Logistics is a big part of the real estate function because you need to be able to have a jumping off point to get all over town. But typically our office spaces are somewhere in the neighborhood of 1,000 to 2,000 square feet. Obviously right in the middle is sort of optimum, the 1,500 square foot space. That's going to allow you to staff 30 or so people, maybe even closer to 40 when you get closer to the 2,000 square foot mark. So most of ours, in fact all of ours, are right now leased. We have looked at purchasing some of the spaces in the past, but for now we're leasing it, and it's today's real estate market is still so attractive, or mostly attractive for commercial leases. So some markets may have some different dynamics, but for the most part, commercial real estate is still very friendly to a small business owner, especially in that size range, because most people are talking about wanting the big spaces. So we come in, and you're a real company with a real history. wanting a small space, and they want to work with you.
And you don't want retail space. You don't want the showy place. You want to...
No need for this to have any kind of street frontage.
Yeah, you're not really going to have customers coming in off the street saying, I want my house cleaned. You're going to have them on the phone or through the internet.
Right,
So.
and even the build-out. I know a lot of times we've sometimes, in some cases, we've walked into an office space and it's been ready to go, and the next day we could have been open if we wanted to be. In other cases, we've had to put a little bit of time and money into building the space out. But if you're able to do that, if you want to deal with that, or in some cases even do the work yourself. Now, not David nor I can help you with that, because we still don't know what a hammer or a nail is. But if you want to put the time into constructing your space and to suit your needs, then more than likely you're going to get a little bit of a break on the lease terms as well. So inexpensive real estate is another great reason to be a part of our business. And for those of you out there who want to be home-based, there's another discussion for that down the road. But just to kind of give you a quick glimpse, obviously there's some allure to it, because there's actually some franchised concept. Have we talked about franchising yet?
A touch.
It's been 10 minutes, I think, and we haven't spoken.
I can't believe it.
Well, obviously we offer a franchise opportunity, so give us a call if you're interested in learning how to make this as turnkey as possible.
Yeah.
But there are some franchise concepts out there that are actually home-based, and so there's some success behind that. But for us, the office space itself allows us to create a positive professional environment / culture that really pays dividends over time for us.
Right.
What's the other reason?
The final thing is the growth market. The cleaning industry, the maid service industry is a growing market. It's amazing, even during the recession, how our market grew. You would think, okay, during a recession, people were cutting maid services in their home. You know what? They weren't. Whenever the recession hit and 2 people had to go back to work instead of just 1 in the home, we got more phone calls. We grew during recession, and we've grown since the recession as well. The cleaning industry is a growth market, and it's amazing to me. I think I've been blown away by the amount of demand for people that want their homes cleaned versus what it was even 20 years ago. The demand is increasing, and it's becoming more every day for people. It's almost expected as far as a loan service, a weed service, or whatever it is. It's becoming an expected thing of home ownership now that more and more people are growing to, because 30 years ago that just wasn't the case. It just wasn't thought of that way. It wasn't even accepted that way. But in today's culture, this is a unbelievably fast-growing market to be in.
Yeah, I've even noticed the transformation in the 11 years that I've owned this business. We started in Pensacola, Florida in early 2003, April Fool's Day on 2003. And I remember then thinking, man, we've got to figure out a way to get to these luxury homes, because that was who was hiring us. They were the really large 3,000, 4,000, 5,000 square foot homes. In some cases, they were retired. There wasn't a lot of cash flow inside the home. There was just large assets inside the home. In other words, a lot of money. And that's who we were trying to reach out to. And all of our marketing efforts were going in that direction. And over time, we have noticed a really transformation in that they're still out there. There's still the luxury homes that really just want our service more than require it. But what's become more prevalent is the requirement part of what we do. There's a lot of young couples that are both working, dual income families as we call them, and they just don't have the time. They have the resources, but they just don't have the time to really go out there and want to clean. On the weekend, they want to spend time with their family or deal with another project inside or around their home. They don't want to spend all morning on Saturday cleaning. So what we do has become more and more of a requirement, which is a good thing, because that opens up a large number of people that we didn't at one point actually market to. So it's almost similar to our comparison to a very high dollar maybe restaurant. That's the theme I guess we're going to go with today, restaurants. But you've got $50 to $75 entree that may be limited just a few people because of the cost. But that's what we were in 11 years ago. But the difference is now we still are able to offer that $50 to $75 steak, but now market it to everyone really out there. And in fact, our franchise concept has built a marketing plan that we've talked about before that really is perfect for attracting leads from that actual dual income family.
Sure.
So And it goes beyond that. There's other niches within our market that are beyond just the dual income family. But for us, the dual income families present a large, educated, wealthy demographic that really is attracted to what we have to offer as a business and what you could too as well in your own market.
Yeah. Well, I think that may be all the time we have for today, but we are so excited you've joined us again for Cleaning Business TV, and we hope to see you again next week.
Yeah, hope you guys had a fun Memorial Day a couple days ago, and we'll see you in another 7 days. See you later.
See ya.